every gymnast knows what London means. The Olympic opportunity of a lifetime. Getting there or getting back will most likely be the toughest thing they ever do. Now the World Championships in Tokyo, the next big step. But the leadership and depth of Team USA is on crutches. That leaves only one who's been on the big international stage. Uncertain? Sure. Nervous? Absolutely. But that's when champions rise up. NBC Sports presents the 2011 World Gymnastics Championships. The Tokyo Tower dominates the sprawling skyline of historic Tokyo, Japan, a nation still recovering from a historic earthquake and disastrous tsunami. The Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium was the place for gymnastics in the Olympics of 1964. And so the sport returns in 2011. The best in the world at the 2011 Gymnastics World Championships. Ahead, the women's team final. This is Al Trowie with Tim Daggett and Elfie Schlegel. And a big part of the American story is someone who is not in this picture. And that would be Alicia Sacramone, who was part of the American silver medal effort at the most recent Olympics in Beijing. This team now has only one gymnast who has been to the World Championships. Now, this is Alicia Sacramone, getting ready on October 4th, looking good, ready to contribute to the Americans in 3 important apparatus. Her experience, her enthusiasm was huge, but then in a closed practice, her Achilles tendon ruptured, requiring surgery, which she has now had, but she leaves Tokyo with some regrets.
I went everything full out. Beam was good. Warm-up for floor was good. First pass, my routine was good. And then in my second pass, my floor routine, I was doing an Arabian double front. And when I punched, I thought I broke the floor because I heard this snap, and I was like, and I'm lying on my back, and I was like, someone needs to check the floor. Like, I think I broke it. And Chow was like, I don't think you broke the floor. I was like, let's just not tell me it's my foot for right now. And I kind of knew instantly that it was my Achilles because it had been bothering me.
So what in that instant, you know, when you're lying on your back and you knew it was your Achilles, what went through your mind right then?
Honestly, I kind of had like a blank moment being like, did this really just happen? You've got to be kidding me. It's like at World Championships, you can never catch a break. Somebody always gets stuck with an injury, and I was like, dang it, this year it's me. You know, I was just upset because I'd worked so hard in the past, year and a half to come back and get in shape and be ready for this World Championships, and to get hurt at 2 days before prelims was hard. And then obviously it is just a roller coaster of emotions, being upset, mad, like crying, laughing, trying to deal with it. And I know it was hard on the girls, but they took time and came and saw me, and I talked to them and told them that they were going to be just fine without me, that we're still going to be the best country in the world if they just go out and compete the same way that they'd been training.
So without your leadership, how is that going to impact them?
You know, they're going to be missing me, having me around. I do try to keep the mood a little bit lighter in the gym for them, so it's not as intense, but they're going to be just fine. I told them I'd video chat them after surgery and before team finals so they can see my face, and I can, give them a little pep talk, and they'll be good to go.
So, Tim Daggett, off that conversation, is a return in the London Olympics possible 10 months away?
Well, it's possible, but it is very, very challenging. It's important to note, though, that this has happened before. Right here, you see Courtney Kupets, who tore her Achilles right before the 2003 World Championships and came back and competed in Athens in 2004.
Well, this is a little bit less time, though, than that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the timing is crucial. And remember, for Alicia, her key events are vaulting. That takes a lot of stress on those legs.
That leaves the United States with 17-year-old Allie Raceman from Needham, Massachusetts. She is the only one who has been to an event like this with the United States at the last World Championships.
And you wonder how Allie is feeling at this moment, because not only has she lost her American teammate, but also her training partner. Alicia Sacramone has mentored this young lady. She has coached her in her own gym back in Massachusetts. It's a huge loss for her.
Yeah, I talked to her about that. She said, somebody had to step up, so I decided to take that role and be a bit more of a leader, and
she has.
A great start for Team USA. They were so dominant in the qualifying round of the competition. Nobody was even close.
Almost made it look way too easy.
How about we explain this format? You know, it would almost pay to be good and solid and consistent as opposed to be great.
There's no question. There will be 3 athletes that compete on each event, and all 3 scores count. So if you have a fall, remember a fall is 1 point in deductions minimum. So if you make a mistake, it is huge.
And that's a great start for Team USA, 14.95. That's about the best that Ali can do.
No gymnastics conversation can exclude the Chinese Yao Jinan.
She is really an up-and-coming star, one of the newbies, the young generation on this Chinese team.
And she just joined the team in 2010. Brand new.
And they need to have a great start here because China and bars can be remarkable, but they also can tend to be a little bit inconsistent, but they are fabulous potentially.
They had some uncharacteristic mistakes in the team qualification round, which was actually shocking.
Now watch this. Beautiful 4.5 spin right to a release. And the thing that was shocking to me is their star, Olympic champion, He Kexin, on this event was brought to Tokyo just to do bars. She fell in the prelims, and she is not on the roster. Beautiful double layout.
What is always consistent with this team is the impeccable form. They own this event. This is truly their event.
That was fantastic.
Here's Jordan Weber, who has had an amazing 2011. She's won everything she's entered.
Super hard vault right here.
Get it!
Whoa. That was very impressive. Little bit scary, I tell you, on that landing. She's had some struggles here. I spoke with her coach, John Geddard, and he said that some of the basics have kind of devolved a little bit. They have to go back and fix what's called the round-off, the entry. But the thing that scared me is look at her leg when she lands. It's a little bit lock-kneed on one of them, and you don't want to do that. Right there, you can kind of see it, a little scary.
But I tell you, one thing that this young athlete has is mental toughness. She has entered this competition unfazed by the press that she's receiving. She is certainly prepared.
Huge score, 15.833 for the U.S. national champion.
Yeah, that is gigantic. And vaulting is really a place where the USA has the ability to move way ahead of everybody else.
And they are in front right now. Now, here's someone, if I had asked you two in St. Paul, Minnesota at the national championships, will she be in Tokyo? You probably would have said no with a capital N.
That was a scary national championships. Probably one of the worst performances that Tim and I have seen over, well, the past 15 years.
Definitely.
But this young lady, she obviously is here and competing for Team USA, and for that reason is this event, vault. She is by far the best in the world. You'd have to agree on this vault right here.
Yeah, I saw her do this as a junior at a USA competition. I went, that's the best in the world. And this...
Spectacular.
Whoa.
Hello, world.
Unreal. Unreal.
Hey, Tim, tell the reaction of the experts who were watching the first time they saw her do this vault.
Yeah, during the podium trainings, you got all the gymnastics experts in the world. They're watching. They come to watch the USA because they're the best in the world right now. And she did this vault right here. And as she took off the table and then landed, the entire crowd just gasped. But all the best in the world were watching, the gymnasts, the coaches, the judges, and she blew them away.
And it's the form. It's impeccable. We have to take a look at execution scores because this will be the best in the world. It's just unbelievable.
We will get her score in a moment. This is Wang Guisheng.
And, you know, up until even after the podium training, she was listed as the alternate. I talked to head coach, Coach Liu from China, and he told me they still haven't made their decision. She's fabulous, but can be... Oh, she's unbelievable. She's fabulous, but just like that, she can be very inconsistent and make not just small errors, but this one in a team final, especially the way the Americans are performing That is disastrous right there. That'll cost her about 1.5 points.
She's just one of few who has world championship experience, and this is obviously a shocking fall to this team, especially on their best apparatus. Yeah, that's devastating for this team.
And, you know, just trying to figure out the strategy for Coach Liu, the head coach of the Chinese team. Like I said, Huang Quishan, she is either fantastic or she completely drops the ball. And just a little bit off right there. Throughout this routine, she shows some areas where it's a little bit quick, and she had that fall.
And more importantly, that fall in this competition at this level, a year out from the Olympics, could have hurt her chances for making that team next summer.
Yeah, I agree.
13.733, and a mistake that changes these world championships right now. And we can tell you that Michaela Moroni has put up a mega score. We will not see many 16s today. If we will see another one, 16.033. It gives the United States a lead. Now the question is, what is the Chinese response? Another major mistake like the flu, or shake it off like they've been there and done that?
You know, I'll never forget the head of the delegation from China at one meet. I asked them, you know, what happens when one of your athletes falls? This was a number of years ago. It's like it's a chain reaction. And he told me specifically that when one falls, we must all fall. And they've really gotten a little bit better at combating that, but we'll see.
This is Tan Cixin.
She is anchoring this team. Remember, 3 up, all 3 scores count.
Oh, beautiful. Look at the line, as Elfie said, the knees and the toes, and perfect topped out handstand positions. Once again right there.
Beautiful.
I don't know how the judges find the deductions they find in some of these routines. I saw 1 or 2 there.
Well,
but
perhaps right here in this combination from low bar to high bar, this, you know, has been a weak spot for the entire world, I would have to say.
They're still going to find way more deductions than I think exist in this exercise.
Well, there was huge pressure for her coming in to anchor this team. She hit her routine, but that dismount will cost her some valuable tenths.
Yeah, it leaves a little bit of a sour taste in the judges' minds, I think. That first hop that she took was wider than shoulder width apart, so that means it's a 3/10 hop, and then the second one was at least a 10th off, so beautiful exercise, but almost a 0.5 point in landing deductions.
And the most important point in those landing deductions, especially in this format, is that can make all the difference in the final standings. It's deductions on landings, leg separations.
So I would say that China underperformed by about 2 points on this event, and Team USA on vault, they didn't overperform, but relative to the rest of the world, they hit it out of the park.
So Team USA has the lead. China has a major mistake, but you know there are more than 2 nations involved in these world championships. And when we return you to the competition in Tokyo, we'll see where the Russians and the Romanians plan to fit in here on NBC Sports. The World Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by Subway Restaurants. This October, any footlong is a $5 footlong. By International Gymnastics Camp. We're not just another gymnastics camp. We are IGC. By I Can't Believe It's Not Butter. You can have it all. And by USA Gymnastics. Begin here, go anywhere. The United States doesn't have Alicia Sacramone. The Russians counter with, hey, we don't have Aliyah Mustafina, who in 2010 defined state-of-the-art in gymnastics. But between then and now, a torn ACL and a complete knee reconstruction. As it is for Sacramone, the question for Mustafina remains, can she return to form in time for the Olympic showdown in London? And Tim and Elfie, what do the Russians fill her missing spot with?
Yeah, they can't fill that spot at this point, and that's what has really hurt them. But, you know, it's funny, I talked with head coach Alexander Alexandrov from Russia, and he said that every day for the last month and a half, Elena Mustafina has begged him to put her on this team. He says she's the leader, the heart and soul of the team, and she is sorely missed.
But they have brought a little inexperience to this team for these World Championships, along with some athletes who have been here before and know how to get the job done.
Again, the big story so far, a major mistake by the Chinese on the uneven bars, a huge hit by Michaela Moroni, and we'll see her coming up in floor.
Beautiful double twisting. Yurchenko just a little bit sloppy. She kind of misses one of her hands on that block. You see that, and so she doesn't get the rise off of the table that we saw, frankly, from all three Americans.
Sania Afanaseva, 14.800. I think we always have to re-emphasize. What does that mean?
Well, to put it in perspective, Michaela Moroni from the USA, she scored over a 16 on this event. That's over 1.2.
Victoria Kamova of Russia.
She's actually capable of doing the same vault we saw from Michaela. Don't think she's going to do it, and she didn't. She just went.
But what she does incredibly well, and she has been riddled with ankle problems all year long and just has not been prepared to perform the 2.5 twist.
She is a fabulous gymnast, though. A little bit inconsistent in training, but beautiful lines, execution. Her mom was a great gymnast for the Soviet Union, Kolesnikova, and she actually was a world champion on the 1985 team and the 1986 Goodwill Games all-around champion.
A very good score, 15.033. The way this works is the United States sends up their 3, then the Russians respond, and over on the uneven bars, first it's the Chinese 3, and now the Romanian 3. And again, it's the 3 scores. They all count, so a major mistake is a major mistake. Elena Amelia Resea.
And don't be surprised if you see Romania certainly not at the top of the leaderboard, because this is by far their lowest scoring event.
Historically, they have struggled immensely on the uneven bars. Nice combination there, but you're going to see, if you just remember back to the intricate work of the Chinese and the absolute perfect form, that they're really not, they're not in their league. Oof, very early landing, let go on the dismount, and then a huge step forward. I would say that both of those were 3/10 deductions.
And this routine only scored a 13.0 in the first day of qualifications, so certainly not a top score at all.
And a big story for the Romanian women is the return of their legendary coach, Octavian Belu, and we'll talk about the possible effect of that as we continue here in Tokyo. But are you seeing any of his effect here?
Yeah, they look better. There's no question. You know, and I had an opportunity to speak with him before the competition began, and he said, you know, we're not there yet, but I think we have time.
And they are not there yet with a 13.000 for Elena Amelia Resea. So the United States, riding a major vault score, take the lead at the World Gymnastics Championships. More from Tokyo after this. It's still the first rotation in the team final of the Gymnastics World Championships. The place is Tokyo, Japan. Tatiana Nabiva of Russia. And again, 3 gymnasts in each rotation. All the scores count.
Tatiana was part of the gold medal team last year at the World Championships.
And a good vault, but, you know,
Form.
Yeah, definitely sloppy in the air. And at the last World Championships, the Russians were the team that had the super difficult vaults. She did that 2.5 twist that we saw from both Jordan Weber and Michaela Moroni, and so did Elena Mustafina. But
they're playing it safe.
yeah, her coach, who was here as a judge also, Valentina Tereshova, she told me that she has been battling a hamstring for really the last 6 months, and she just can't run fast enough.
Back to the Romanians. What is it that Octavian Belu told you, Tim?
He says we try to train our gymnasts like commandos or Navy SEALs, do it wherever, whenever, in the jungle, the mountains. Doesn't matter how big the meet is, nothing else matters. And that is what he believes, and he brings that to the table. And because of that all or nothing attitude, the Romanian team, who were really, they were on a downward spiral. I believe that they are still a factor even here, and will be much more so in London in less than a year.
And they're expecting from this young lady, Anna Pogras, who was one of the bright spots in 2009. She came onto the scene to be one of the leaders.
Nabiva for the second place Russians, 14.666. So 10 months from now, we'll all be watching what happens at the Olympics in London, England, and that is where Elizabeth Twiddle is from. The pressure for every single Great Britain athlete to win in a situation where they think they can win is enormous, and that's the situation she'll be in.
Well, and a little of that pressure has been lifted off this women's team, because they have in fact qualified to London, unlike the men's team, who must return next January and qualify for their Olympics.
It doesn't look like she's doing this second nature, does it?
You know, Beth's strengths come in the tumbling department. The choreography, you know, not really her forte, but, you know, she's been on this world stage before, and she has won medals at the world competition.
She's actually a world champion on this event.
Someone asked Beth if she would be here today had it not been for London hosting the games next summer, and she said probably not. Probably not. I wanted that opportunity to compete in my own country.
Very difficult, as you said, Elfie, tumbling in this exercise, but there's actually a component in the rules right now that talks about artistry, and they can take a straight deduction.
Yeah, that was lacking in this routine for sure.
And I would say she'll get that deduction. But it's a shame, you know, not just on floor exercise, but she is phenomenal on the uneven bars. Should be one of the contenders for gold in London, but she didn't even qualify to the finals here in Tokyo.
As you can see, the first rotation is done. Scores still coming in. Anna Pogras has given her Romanian team a 14.066. It should be great news for the United States. As for Great Britain's Elizabeth Twiddle, a 14.533, and compared to the other scores that we've had, that's right in the middle of things. We'll be back and return you to Tokyo, Japan, as the 2011 World Gymnastics Championships continues here on NBC. After one rotation, the United States has a formidable 2.3 lead. In qualifying before the team final, they believed that they had hit 20 out of 20 routines, and now they've hit 3 of 3 to take that lead. What's the response going to be for, say, Romania on the balance beam?
Well, traditionally, this is their event. This has been an event that I remember the Romanians being absolutely brilliant on back in 1976 when I watched Nadia.
Unbelievable. Very super, uber difficult. A connection right into that back with a full.
They've always excelled in their steadiness.
They started on bars, which is by far their weakest event, and like we said, in 8th place at this point in time, but balance being, I would say, most definitely their best event by far. I'll tell you though, there are so many people out there that are so negative on the rules, the change from the scoring system. Octavian Bellou said he thinks it's a travesty, should go back to the 10.0 scale.
Certainly a lot easier to understand.
A lot easier to understand. And you know what you see in this routine, and this is the problem with the rules. This is exactly what you have to do. You have to do trick, trick, trick.
And there's no artistry in between.
This is the really hard skill she does right off the top. A backflip with a full in combination, but
the challenge, Tim, you're right. It's acrobatic element after element, and the challenge is to make it look fluid and to have some form of artistry in between all of these difficult skills, and that has proven to be very difficult.
Yeah, almost impossible. There are just a handful in the world that can somewhat pull it off, but if the requirements were changed, you could see a routine that's not just difficult and hard, but you could see something that was beautiful.
Well, if you two have trouble understanding the scores, that's all I need to hear.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And Alicia gets a 14.633.
Well, a very strong start for Romania. They didn't even come close to that score on the uneven bars.
They were 8th after the first rotation. Now back to Russia.
And this is where the Russians will make up a lot of ground. They were not wonderful on vault, certainly held back, but Victoria will not hold back on this event.
She is wonderful. Her coach says best quality is she's so light and she flies. Oh.
2010 World Championships gold medalist.
Watch this here. That's her own move. Release right here.
Beautiful.
Oh, that was fingertips, I'll tell you. You hear her teammates in the background. Davai, davai, davai. Let's go. Come on in Russian. She doesn't need any encouragement.
Fantastic.
Because that was brilliant.
Stuck landing doesn't hurt either.
It does not. You know, like I said, I had the opportunity to talk with her mom for quite a while, and she said, you know, gymnastics was just going to happen for her because both her and her dad were gymnasts, and they both worked at a gym. So when she was 3 years old, she went with mom and dad to the gym, and it was inevitable.
But one thing we know, a 15.566 is very good for Victoria Komova for the Russians. You can see the youth on some of these faces here. They're really just kids after all. And then there's a face like this, not a kid at all. Catalina Ponor, 7 years removed from a triple gold medal performance at the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens.
And you know, one of the main reasons why I think Catalina is back is because Octavian Bellou and Mariana Batang are back. And they were the coaches of the Romanians for about 25 years, and
she thrived under their leadership.
Yeah, they retired. There was some criticism of Octavian Bellou says how rigorous they were in training, and they had had enough and stepped away from the sport, but now are back.
Now, Elfie, to your point, again, I'm not a gymnastics expert, but it looks as though she's going, okay, I did that skill. Now I've got to do this skill, and I've got to do this skill, and there's no real flow between them, right?
Well, it's very planned out. I mean, her routine is already set, and Catalina, I was going to say, looks exactly like she did back in 2004. I haven't seen much of a difference, but more importantly, she brings value for experience to this team. At these World Championships, their main goal was to qualify for next summer and really just, you know, hit your sets and bring that experience to perhaps some of the younger athletes that are watching her at her age get the job done. But it's the rules. She does a lot of difficulty, but the most important thing is she stays up on that balance beam and will bring in a very good score.
So Ponar is back for the Romanians. When we come back, Jordan Weber of the United States on the uneven bars trying to expand the American League. Plus, the United States possibly gets back an all-around gold medalist for London. That story next. She might just be back for London 2012. She is the reigning Olympic all-around gold medalist, Nastia Liukin, announcing during the World Championships that she and her father have recommitted to the Olympic cause. Surprised at all, Tim?
Yeah, I am a little surprised because it has been quite a few years for Nastia Liukin. She has been all over the globe and so many different opportunities outside of the sport.
Well, and she certainly sees the possibility of what she can contribute to the United States, and that is definitely on uneven bars and balance beam. But the key for Nastia is she has to get back in incredible shape and gymnastics performance. She doesn't need to be at these World Championships. That's not what it's all about for her. It's just getting back what she used to do.
It all just reinforces how impossible it is to predict, watching these pictures, who's going to represent which country next summer in London.
Well, I don't think we'll ever see Nastia Liukin in the all-around again, but I tell you, a healthy and a Beijing-level Nastia Liukin, what she brings on balance beam and especially bars, she fills a weakness, a void that the USA has. They'd be even stronger.
Well, here as we resume in the second rotation with China, the format in the Olympic Games, is it 3 up, 3 down? All scores count just like this?
It certainly is. And the one place where the USA is a little weaker is on bars. So that's why Nastia potentially is such a huge plus for Team USA. Tell you, this young girl, though, she is really a rising star. She's classic Chinese. Beautiful form,
and like many athletes from different countries, is really getting her first opportunity to be on the world stage.
And look at that, one of her sponsors is dangling, and on the balance beam that thing's flopping around every time she throws her arms or goes into an acrobatic movement. At one point I think it hit her in the cheek. That has got to be extremely distracting. But I guess not for her. How the heck?
I can tell you that Ponar's score for Romania was a 15.166.
Beautiful, super difficult. Back with a full.
And that wasn't the most difficult skill. Actually did a tumbling element down the length of the balance beam right here.
Nice dismount. Good landing position. Chest is up. Just a small step. I would say that's a 1/10 of a point step. Should be.
We'll get her score in a moment. Now back to Jordan Weber. American Cup, no problem. Wins that. Visa National Championship, no problem. Wins that. And it was a blowout. And she will be part of the all-around championship here at these World Championships, and we'll have it for you right here on NBC tomorrow.
She qualified second, just behind Victoria Komova from Russia. Oh, a little bit clunky there. She's a power gymnast. Very hard routine, but if there's one place where she's not as outstanding, it's on the uneven bars.
But a clean set.
Hey, Tim, how about what you saw in terms of nerves from the American women compared to how they're performing?
Unbelievable, because, you know, initially they were all shook up with, remember, Alicia Sacramone's injury, and some of them during the podium, they looked extremely nervous, but I have seen absolutely none of that in the team finals, and really even in the qualifying, they just phenomenal.
Well, marching into this competition, they were all smiles, and you seldom see that from a team like this. But I think they're just so well prepared, both mentally and physically, for this competition.
And that's what her coach, John Geddard, told me after the qualifying round. He said, you know, what happened with Alicia, that could have let all the air out of the balloon, but they are just too well trained.
Well, 14.766. Not great, but not a major mistake, and that's all the United States needs to do right now. What prestige to walk into a building like this for World Championships and be the reigning U.S. national champion. Yao Jilan of China puts up a 15.2 on beam. That will not help out China at all. Now this is Germany's Oksana Chusovitina. She's been at this gymnastics game since 1992, starting with the unified team, and then her son, Alistair, got sick. He needed special treatment. It could only come in Germany, so she made the big jump. And now at the age of 36, she is representing Germany and not Russia.
And if you had said 10, 15 years ago that there would be a 36-year-old woman competing and contending for a vault title at women's artistic gymnastics, the experts around the world would have said, you don't know what you're talking about, or you're stupid.
Yeah, she's proved them all wrong.
And this now is how she supports her family. 15.333 for Oksana Chusovitina. When we come back to the American story, which is in front right now. Marta Caroli and Team USA have to be happy with who they have in Tokyo. After all, they have a big lead. Back in August in St. Paul at the National Championships, it looked like they might have Shawn Johnson, but then no. Why, Tim?
Well, of course, Shawn, she is an Olympic gold medalist on this event right here, and she just started her comeback. I just think Marta felt she's not quite ready. She did say she is the next athlete in line for these World Championships, number 8.
And one thing Shawn did prove at the U.S. Championships is that she is on the rise. She had improved immensely.
2 other gymnasts in comeback mode. We now know that ice on the shoulder for Chelsea Memel at the end of the National Championships meant surgery. And then there's Rebecca Bross. Most of us saw the haunting images of her collapsing in pain. It was a patella injury. She's had surgery too and is thinking about being ready for London 2012. In Tokyo, the United States had a lead over 2 points. Sui Lu for China now on the balance beam.
I think she actually tackles the challenges of balance beam, does one of the best jobs in terms of fluidity, connecting the choreography with all these acrobatic elements.
Watch this. This is beautiful. She'll do a front flip with a half twist. Oh,
just makes it look so effortless.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. I did not see her make a mistake on that the entire time prior to competition and up to the qualifying at all.
I think what struck me with her work is just, you know, not just the great choreography and the skills, but everything's so light. You can barely hear her when she lands these difficult skills.
Still got to pack all that difficulty in there, though. But like you said, Elfie, she really does a wonderful job of maintaining beautiful positions throughout.
Well, she has this checklist of acrobatic skills. I think she pretty much covered them all.
Guys over on the uneven bars, Gabrielle Douglas, 14.733. Sabrina Vega, 14.366. Solid numbers that should keep the United States in front.
There was that beautiful front with a half.
Yeah, and this will be a great score for Team China. Overall, just a beautifully executed exercise, and I think had the best fluidity that I've seen so far.
Look at those eyes. They are laser beamed right to that 4-inch piece of, I don't even know what it is anymore. We used to say it was a 4-inch piece of wood, but there's a lot more technology in that thing now. But a great exercise. And look at this, landing just the smallest of steps, but that'll be a 1/10 of a point.
The building was so quiet during her performance. And we will get her score. And now this is a moment, isn't it? Koko Surumi of Japan.
She was the 2009 bronze medalist in the all-around, the first Japanese female to win a medal in 43 years. She also went on to win a silver on the uneven bars at those same championships.
Well, Koko is certainly the most decorated gymnast from this country. Her floor exercise, it's beautiful, it's artistic, exactly what the judges are looking for, but where she lacks is in the difficulty.
Question.
I know it's coming.
That was Spanish, was it not?
Yes.
You have a championship in your country, and you don't do floor exercise to something Japanese? I mean, I expect Elizabeth Twiddle next year to do a pub song in London. I don't know if that's going to happen, but is that a mistake, Elfie? I mean, a missed opportunity?
Yeah, I agree with you, Al, actually. I think she should have used something from her country, but you know what they did? They just simply looked at her style, her elegance, and they went with what works for her. And, you know, perhaps they hadn't thought of it. I hate to say it.
I don't know how. That's just crazy, though, because with her coming in as the most decorated Japanese, knowing that this major event the year before the Olympics is happening at home, I just...
Sure, she's a classic gymnast, though.
Yeah.
Koko Surumi is moving on, as are we, to the third rotation, which brings us essentially to halftime. China right now still trying to recover from that major fall off the uneven bars in the first rotation. They are ranking third. Surumi of Japan. She is given a 14.058. Not very good at all for the Japanese women, who just don't have the depth. Next up, the World Championships move to the third rotation. Sabrina Vega, Ali Raisman, and Jordan Weber of the United States will be up. After two rotations, essentially half the competition, the United States has seen a little under a point shaved off their lead. It's now 1.4. As we go to the beam, the United States and Sabrina Vega. It must be very different, Tim, to look at her now compared to what she looked like when you first saw her in Tokyo.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Right before the qualifying competition, the athletes are lining up to march into the arena, and she was crying heavily. I think she was just so overwhelmed with that she was going to be competing in a World Championships, and quite frankly, she was very nervous.
You know what they say sometimes, just get it out. Go ahead, cry it out.
And she did that because she was tremendous in the qualifying and has been great here so far as well.
And you can't tell an athlete who is coming into this situation for the first time, it'll be okay, just do what you do in the gym, it'll all be fine. I remember that feeling too, and I completely agree. It is overwhelming, no kidding. But like you said, Al, just get it out, do your stuff, and she is doing that. She is competing like a veteran.
But, you know, I've never seen anybody really be that emotional. Did you ever cry?
No, I didn't cry.
Well, it had to get everybody's attention on Team USA to see that lead go from 2.3 to 1.4.
And, you know, this is balance beam, and they're great here, but you got to stay on.
And this is what Marta Karolyi is looking for. A key event like balance beam, set the tone. She is doing her job as the lead-off athlete. Nicely done.
A great job.
And she has some lovely artistic qualities, not to mention great athletic ability. Yeah, she looked really calm up there.
Yeah,
just
she did.
Going through the motions of her routine, and I have to say, doing what she does in training.
But that has been what we just see right here is the difference between the USA and everybody else in the competition is they answer the call and they're not making mistakes.
They're
That's all there is to
handling the
it.
pressure.
14.833, so it's hit, hit, hit. They went 20 for 20 in qualifying. So far, they've gone 7 for 7. And here is the elder stateswoman at 17, Ali Raisman.
But she has been in this position before, and this is what she's been able to offer to the other teammates. This is what it feels like. Here's how you have to handle it.
Yeah, she's a veteran, all right, 17 years old.
And she's a true all-arounder. You can put Ali Raisman in any position.
I talked to her after the first day of competition, and you know, the one thing that she does that other people struggle with, everybody says just make it like another practice, but she says that she can actually pull it off, and I believe it. She doesn't feel any more pressure here, remarkably, than she does down at the ranch at one of the selection camps, and that's amazing.
Well, the only difference is, Tim, from a team standpoint, a major mistake here in the hopes of the entire team come crashing down. When you're down on the ranch, you make a mistake, you just get up and do it again.
Right. Well, you know, what I think she does as well as anybody I've ever seen is she is exactly in the moment. She's not thinking of anything that happened prior or that's going to happen, exactly in the moment. Punch right there, land.
Beautiful.
Right there.
So that's another hit.
Another hit.
As you see, Mihai Brestjan, he coached both Ali Raisman and, of course, the injured Alicia Sacramone.
Yeah, everything was on both gymnastically and in her head. She has it all figured out, and that's an important quality to have, I tell you. That's something that Marta Karolyi wants to be able to count on, and this bodes well for Ali, looking down the road to London.
Very difficult dismount, actually called a Patterson, named after U.S. Olympic all-around champion in 2004, Carly Patterson.
So almost identical scores for the first two Americans on the balance beam. We'll see Jordan Weber in a few moments, but right now China remains on the floor in this third rotation.
This is a beautiful routine here.
Suilu.
This mount is fantastic. Watch this. Watch the height she gets. Oh.
watching this sport together for a long time. We've seen a tremendous evolution in the Chinese dance element of floor exercise, haven't we?
No question about it. It's like they didn't care in the beginning.
Well, they've put a lot of effort into their choreography. This is one of my favorite routines at the championship. And with the greater emphasis on artistry, it's important to have.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, that's an enjoyable routine.
The United States remaining on the balance beam. This is Jordan Weber. Again, the women's all-around. She'll be part of that story tomorrow right here on NBC.
And just like her teammates, she has been a rock. I looked over my notes from the podium training from the first day of competition, and after her name, the thing that I wrote down first was like a rock every time on all 4 events.
You know, we lost Al Davis, the owner of the Oakland Raiders, this week, and he would love her. Just win, baby.
Yep.
And the other thing about Jordan is she's not afraid. She's not afraid of the spotlight. She's not afraid to actually do really well and, you know, to let everyone know. She enjoys this position.
You know, it's amazing. The last 2 Olympic champions have come from the United States in the all-around, and this young lady right here is unquestionably in contention, not just here in Tokyo, but it could be a 3-peat for Team USA. Watch this big skill here. Right at the end of her routine, so risky.
Yeah, and it comes so late, as you said, in the routine. Just her dismount. Wow.
Unreal.
Yeah, she's feeling it today.
Yeah, not just her, though. I mean, when you look at all of the routines that have already happened, USA, 20 for 20, as you said, Al, in the qualifying round, and now they are 9 for 9 with just 3 more to go.
And they have to feel as though putting the balance beam behind them in the rearview mirror is one of the best feelings that could come today right now.
Yeah, I mean, if something was going to go wrong, it was going to go wrong here, in my opinion. So they still got to get the job done. They have 3 very difficult floor routines to get accomplished, but wow, they have been on a roll.
And Tim, they have saved their best beam score for last. Jordan Weber, a 15.033. So the big mistake still missing. It came early for China. Sui Lu gets a 14.633. The numbers continuing to come in from around the Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium.
We've done awesome today so far. Let's just hit the last event perfectly and prove to everyone that we're the best team in the world. We can do this. Yeah, come on. This is like going to be like the most special moment of our lives if we all do a good routine. Okay, all we got to do is just relax and have fun and enjoy it. Okay?
The special moment of our lives. We can do this. Allie Raisman is 17. Second half of the 3rd rotation, Romania is on the floor. This is Diana Maria Celaru.
Yeah, it was a hit routine, a good solid exercise, a little jumping around on some of the landings, but...
Well, it was cheerful, it was playful, it was a typical Romanian-style floor routine. She hit her elements. It wasn't wonderful. The landings, of course, in women's floor exercise today, they're expecting them to stick every tumbling pass or else there are deductions.
A big part of Romanian culture, a legend faltering a bit, but now the head coach, Octavian Belu, who brought so much of the Romanian success to the Olympics and World Championships in the past, is back, and they have to be watching in Romania right now thinking that this is the rebuild.
Yeah, and actually the counterpart to Belu, Mariana Bitang, is home because Belu said, we have 15-year-olds, and they are very good, and someone must stay and prepare them for London.
Chilaru, 14.233. You have to love those little voices.
They're all like sisters.
And now Victoria Komova, barely as tall as the beam.
Well, she's grown. She's grown in the last couple of years, hasn't she? A couple inches?
Actually, in the last year, she's grown 2.5 inches, according to her mom. Her mom did the exact same thing. She really grew up quite quickly. She said it's very funny when looking at photographs of herself and her daughter when she was little. It's like you can't tell them apart.
But did she do gymnastic elements like this coming up right here, her first test?
This is beautiful. The extension of the legs.
Oh, it's gorgeous. And that is not.
Oh.
Well, Tim, let's say that this was a 3-team race. Let's say it was the United States, China, and Russia. China's had the major mistake. Now Russia's had the major mistake, and that's the kind of miss the United States hasn't had.
Not at all. And with that mistake right there, it puts USA so much closer to winning this World Championships. It makes it a heck of a lot easier.
The next gymnast on uneven bars is Elizabeth Pueblo, representing Great
Even
Britain.
with that fall,
2010 World
this
Championship
routine
gold
is
medalist
still
on uneven bars.
a remarkable set. I mean, she has such great difficulty, including that very risky double turn.
You know, I watched her throughout the week, and I think I saw her make that turn one time. And this one right here, too.
And she hits it when it counts. But that fall, devastating.
Well, but the mind games are so unbelievable. I mean, the hardest thing to do is seal the deal. Those 3 routines are going to be very hard. Back to Elizabeth Tweddle of Great Britain.
And hold on, because this is nonstop from start to finish. You can't even tell what she's doing when she gets going here. Watch this.
Exhausting.
Unbelievable. It's just huge release after release. It's a travesty. She didn't qualify for the event finals.
You cannot take your eyes off of Elizabeth.
Yeah, you don't even... It just happens so quick.
But what a shame. What a shame she didn't make it to the finals.
But that routine in a packed O2 arena 10 months from now,
They will go
look
crazy.
out.
Yep.
Oh, you compare the tempo of what she just did to what the Romanians did, for example, they looked like they were in slow motion. Meanwhile, for the Russians, it's damage control. Their third rotation continues next. A moment ago in Tokyo, Japan, Anna Dementyeva of Russia on the balance beam.
She earns high praise from her coaches. They say that she is the hardest worker by far. Alexander Alexandrov said 10 hours. She could spend 10 hours in the gym and come back and do it all again the next day.
Well, it certainly had paid off for her this year. She won the Russian Cup. She also won the European Championships. They have high expectations for her.
So does Elizabeth Tweddle at next year's Olympics. She gets a 15.666.
And that is the highest score on uneven bars all day. You know, all of the Russian coaches, they recognize the tremendous hard work, but you see all the little balance checks. They say that she's a great athlete, but she just doesn't have the confidence. She doubts herself. Every one of these landings,
Right.
she is, as opposed to like Ali Raisman, who is just laser beam focused. She gets a little bit careful, and you cannot be careful and not have balance checks or falls on the beam.
She's also taking quite a bit of time preparing for her dismount. Just overall, a little bit on the cautious side.
So that was the Mentyeva 14.9 for the Russians in a rotation that has opened a huge World Championship door for the United States. And now another look at Catalina Ponor.
And
She really carries herself like a pro.
Yeah, she does. Well, she is a pro. She's a three-time Olympic gold medalist, as we said 7 years ago, though. But on this exercise, all her strengths are still there, and her strengths are power.
Well, Tim, you said it before, she has all her difficulty back, but the only area is just a little bit of polish in some of the tumbling passes, a little sloppy in the knees, and those landings. That's what's changed since 2004.
Elfie, explain a little bit more. I mean, a 14.63 from the judges.
Right, it's a good score, but look at the knees, look at the form breaks that she incurs in her tumbling passes. And the other thing that I meant about the landings, judges want you to nail those landings, not take little hops like that. Those are deductions.
I mentioned the score, and now the rhythmic chanting tells you the third rotation is done. These are going to be extraordinary opportunities for the United States. 3 more routines to go for a gold medal in Tokyo. In Tokyo, Japan, the United States doubled up their lead in the third rotation, over 3 points to Russia, over 6 points to China. And right now, as we return to the World Championships of 2011, Yulia Belobskaya of Russia. And for the Chinese and the Russians, it's pretty easy to analyze the major mistakes.
You know, you're rarely disappointed when Russia's on the floor. They always have such great music selection. The artistry is there. Wonderful display.
Diana Maria Celaru, Romania, is on the vault.
And a good vault, you know, a little bit sloppy, but this is actually a very good event. You got to remember, for Romania to finish up on there, I think they're about, a half a point behind the Chinese at this point. And, you know, they have 3 pretty good vaults, so.
Each vault is valued differently. This one is a 5.8 start value. And, of course, if she executes it perfectly, the high score she can receive is 15.8.
Which she certainly isn't going to get, but
14.566.
yeah, that is because of the messy legs in the air, the slide back.
Belobskaya, 14.633.
You know, Elfie, you talked about that artistry. For the Russians, it's in their culture.
Yeah.
The ballet, and many of these girls from the beginning have trained in ballet alongside gymnastics. You can see it instantly before they even move.
And we'll see it again.
Beautiful.
Jeez. Trying to hang on to the silver medal.
Well, you know, she won the qualifying in the all-around, but she has not had a great day today. She falls from the balance beam, and then that was basically a fall, what she did at the end of her first tumbling run. Well, that's 3 pretty good vaults for Romania. Not a bad job at all.
There you see that number 5.8, which indicates the difficulty level of the skill. Yurchenko with the double twist, and we're seeing a ton of them in this competition.
Great height, great power.
Just the legs, the form, similar to what she did in her tumbling
But what
passes.
she does well, look, her chest is completely upright. She doesn't bend over at all into the floor. Believe it or not, if you are bent in your hips when you land, it can be up to 0.5 of a point. That's why she's getting that score right there, is she does that extremely well.
14.933. That could really help Romania challenge the Chinese. Komova, a 13.8. Not so much.
Really a disappointing day for that young lady.
She seemed tired.
Yeah.
Again, it's Russia, then the United States on floor exercise. Ksenia Afanaseva.
This is another beautiful routine from Russian gymnastics.
one of the returning veterans who was part of that gold medal winning team last year. Sometimes has been criticized as being a little unpredictable in her gymnastics, but she delivered. I love the style.
Yeah, she has it all. She not only is a great dancer like all the Russians, but can tumble as well. Beautiful double laid out somersault. Nice double pike dismount at the end. Pulling. Good body position when she lands.
An equally difficult choreography. It wasn't just about the tumbling. There was such a great balance in this routine.
So the Russians huddle up. Their World Championships is done. Ali Raisman earlier told her teammates, the moments of our lives, they begin to unfold after this from Tokyo. This has not been China's best day in Tokyo at the World Championships. They need to get some numbers here to prevent Romania, who's been coming on for that bronze medal. This day started with a major Chinese mistake on the uneven bar's first rotation, and they have been unable to climb out of that hole.
Zhang Yuan, who was a member of that dominant team in Beijing back in 2008. This is not a great vault. You see the bent hips, low landing, and very big step forward.
You know, she had gone into hiding after 2008, came back looking really strong at last year's Worlds, but she just doesn't seem to have things quite together again at these Worlds.
It's a 14.166. This is going to be close. This is going to be very close. Tenths, I think.
Yeah, remember, Catalina Ponar did the same vault and scored almost 9/10 higher.
Okay, this has been an amazing day for Michaela Maroney. Remember that 16 she put up right as things got started on the vault? No one's come near that score. That was the best number of the day.
Another big moment for her. Stayed in bounds.
Those were the days, my friends. 2 more routines, and Team USA, this is the day for a World Championship gold medal.
Well, the maturation process has been pushed into overdrive, hasn't it? These last 2 months are amazing. Back to Huang Qishang on the vault.
Really important vault right here.
Remember, fell. She was the one that fell on bars. And a very powerful vault, but leg separation in the air and a big step, a little bit bent over on the landing.
Are you guys surprised that for World Championships, we are not seeing very many stuck landings at all?
Yeah, no, it's no question. I mean, and this one wasn't really even close. This is a nice vault, but that's about as big of a step as you can take without having to take another one or even sitting down. This is a good vault, much better than we just saw, but still, Romania, you know, they put up some big numbers on vaulting.
14.7. Again, that's going to make this very, very close again with Romania for the bronze medal. Yao Jinan
And if there has been a rock on the Chinese side, it is this young lady right here.
Consistent from start to finish.
Yes, she has been. She'll do the same vault. Maximum score, 15.8. Puts it to her feet. I think they got it. And with that, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Just the hop back on the landing, but Romania kind of needed them to be a little sloppier and just a bit less polished, especially this last one.
What she did very well was the execution in the air. Look at those two twists, high above the horse. Just a little bit low on that landing, but overall solid. Maximizes as much as she can from this vault.
And I think China is going to keep Romania in back of them, but beware. That Romo team is on the way back.
Now Maroney gets a 14.566. Going in, the United States just had to average 13.3 to win the gold medal. So that number goes down.
Way down.
The pressure almost goes away. And we'll see what happens now for Jordan Weber of the United States.
Well, it kind of maybe dissipates a bit, the pressure, but she does one of the most intricate and difficult floor exercise routines in the world, especially her mount. This is super hard. It's 2 flips and 2 twists.
Bounce.
Yep, the red flag goes up.
Great ending.
It's fantastic. You could see it in her face. She enjoyed the moment. She is living up to the star that she is becoming here at these championships.
And the United States has such a cushion that out of bounds is something they can absorb.
Oh, yeah, no problem. This routine right here is going to actually push them even further ahead of Russia, I think. Super difficult. Look at this. That is a lot
going on.
Flipping to get done in one piece of air.
And she's in a position to just win one more time here in Tokyo. But this is on a stage she's never been on before. Meanwhile, Yao gets a 14.958. China is going to edge the charging Romanians for the bronze medal by a little over 0.4 of a point. That's just a few hops along the way. And Jordan Weber is going to get a 14.766, which means that Alexandra Reisman won't need much at all. Russia's in the silver medal position, and you know they'll tell you that they're depleted too. They don't have their great champion Mustafina. And all day long we've talked about who the United States doesn't have. All that history is going to remember is who they had here in Tokyo today, not who they didn't. It comes down to one last performance. And you know, Tim Daggett and Elfie Schlegel said it immediately when Ali Reisman started telling her teammates that they can do this. These are the moments of their lives. And they said, you know what's amazing? It's passed down from someone like Alicia Sacramone, who did exactly that 4 years ago in the same spot.
Training partner at the same gym.
She's been well coached by her, hasn't she?
Yeah. Well, she needs a score that she can fall down about 4 times in this routine, and they can still win. But my guess, there's not going to be any falling. And that right there will do it. Team USA, they have just clinched another World Championship gold.
Good job, girls. Great, great, good job. Okay. Good job, girls. Good job. Good job.
12 for 12 today, 20 for 20 on day 1. A perfect 32 for 32. No team has come even close to that stat here in Tokyo.
Allie Raisman right there from Needham, Massachusetts, the only one who had World Championship experience. And now looking toward next year's Olympics, there'll be a lot of World Championship experience to go around. The Russians celebrating their silver medal as they should. And technically, Alicia Sacramone gets a 10th medal at the Worlds, breaking the American record she had shared with Shannon Miller and Nastia Liukin. It's a 14.666 and a blowout win for the United States at the World Championships in Tokyo. When we come back, they'll play the national anthem of the United States of America to celebrate what these young women did so far from home. Is this the exact team that's going to represent the United States in London at the Olympics next summer? Probably not. But a foundation has been laid here, and Tim Daggett and Elfie Schlegel, what should the gymnastics world think about a 4-point win over Russia and a 6-point win over China?
They should be a little scared, really, honestly, because it was one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen.
And the dominance came right from the beginning, from the training sessions to the podium trainings. It happened right from the start when they arrived in Tokyo.
Yeah, but they also had adversity. You know, one of their team members, Alicia Sacramone, I mean, she would definitely have been on the floor here today competing. So they would have been potentially even stronger.
It's sort of cute. It's their first time on a big stage like this. They don't even know where to look to find the American flag. I have a feeling it'll find them. A rather abrupt end to the American national anthem. The moments of their lives. Yes, it was definitely all of that. And we'll hear from some of the members of Team USA after this. World Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by GK Leotards, the choice of champions. By AAI, train and compete on the equipment trusted by the best gymnasts in the world. By Dollamur, made by athletes for athletes. And by gymshorts.com. One site fits all for gymnastics. In Tokyo, it was the World Championships that qualified the best 8 to the Olympics, the United States with the gold medal, and yet another win for Jordan Weber of the United States.
It feels amazing. I was so excited that we came in today, and everyone put in so much hard work and effort to get to this moment, and I'm so proud of this team, and we're so excited.
I was here last year, so I just tried to step in and tell everyone just to relax and enjoy the experience, and that just to have fun, because I knew this was going to be an amazing meet. We did so well in prelims and podium. I just had a feeling.
I think this sends a really important message. It shows that we're really strong as a country and that we're going to be even stronger by next year.
It gives us a lot of confidence, and now we just know that we're ready to get out there and win. We're good.
Watching it all, Alicia Sacramone, Chelsea Memel, Shawn Johnson, and Nastya Lukin now wondering, how do we fit in? Tomorrow, don't miss the conclusion of the World Gymnastics Championships. From Tokyo, Japan, it will be the women's all-around. Our coverage continues tomorrow at 2 Eastern on NBC and all weekend on Universal Sports. With Elfie Schlegel and Tim Daggett, I'm Al Troutman. We'll see you tomorrow for more great World Championship gymnastics on NBC.